Giving myself some insulin. Forgot to do that. So this evening's Dharma talk is, I wasn't sure what to talk about. I'm still not exactly sure, but I think I want to talk about the three pure precepts, which if you receive the full ordination, or rather lay ordination, so Raksu, there's a three refuge vows that we receive, and then there's the three pure precepts we receive, and then there's the 10 prohibitory precepts. So it's 16 altogether. And these three, and I actually have it written down here so I don't, that's a lot of numbers. I'm not a numbers person. Three. So the first one, do no harm. The second one is just do good. And then the third one is be with all things, simply put. So a little bit of an elaboration. Do no harm is kind of obvious to everybody, but another way of looking at that is not knowing. Do no harm to, in order to do no harm instead of and to fix yourself or stop bad things or stop other people and their bad things, just only don't know, just don't know. And in this way, by just having a willingness to just not know, then we give up preconceived ideas about who we are, what the world is, what's going on here, what's going on out there. Just not knowing, a not knowing quality to that. And then the next one would be do good. Obviously, what that is about, generally speaking, but it also involves fundamentally appreciating the incredible goodness of the world around you, not just you doing good, but just appreciating, receiving the amazing, you could use the word miracle of just, there is such a thing as us and this. This is astonishing. We didn't create this. Here we are. And that shows up as no praise, no one created it, and no blame. No one is the cause for anything that shows up in the illusion. It's just dependentalism. No praise, no blame. Do good. And be with all things is whatever shows up, receive it. Whatever goes away, watch it go. Whatever spins around, watch it spin. Whatever. Just keep it very simple and just receive it. Be with all things. There's no one to actually be with all things. So you can't just do it. That's why it's a vow. You receive a vow, you observe a vow to don't do harm, to do good, simply put. However you would understand that initially might be very relative to start with. Just don't hurt yourself or others. Try to be helpful and supportive of others. And also, whatever shows up, don't go to war with it. Don't run away from it. Don't ignore it. I would also say, don't agree with it. I would also say, whatever shows up, no matter how negative, do not accept it. Don't accept anything. Don't qualify or further disturb or perpetuate the illusion by doing anything with it. And if you see yourself spontaneously, even impulsively doing something with it, immediately, right away, just receive it. It's the way humility begins to show up before the ego is completely seen through. You're just not going to be pretentious about anything. You're just going to be with whatever shows up. Be with all things. You're not to blame for anything. If it's difficult, you're not don't get credit for anything that's wonderful and great. Relatively. And that's an awareness practice rather than an accomplishment practice. You won't get a credential or a reward for, you could say, fulfilling those vows. There's no way to really fulfill them. They are already the case. But what the ego mind, the self-centered mind, the war and peace mind does is doing things in such a way to get the relative accomplishment and totally ignore that something is already the case. You are already not separate. Nothing sleeps anywhere. You're not, the traditional way that has been said is you're not separate from the Buddha. You are the Buddha. You're not some guy that lived 2,500 years ago. What the Buddha was pointing at was the Buddha's Dharma, the truth. You are the truth. You are that. It may not feel like it. May never feel like it. If you realize it, it doesn't matter how you feel because that's all illusory. It's just your emotions may come and go, but they do not happen to an individual anymore. They did when you were fighting with yourself, agreeing with yourself, rejecting yourself, pushing and pulling, shutting down. I'm not sure if there's another way to look at that. Maybe there might be, but the only way I know of is to watch the chaos, watch the conflict, sit down, hold still, and observe that. Go this way and that. Watch yourself push. Don't stop it. Watch yourself accept and don't stop it. Watch, observe, receive, and hold your seat. In other words, relax. Did I cover everything? Where'd you get that mile at? Seen that?
Hillzon, which is Shikoku.
Hmm?
Shikoku. But Hillzon brought it back.
Oh, it's very nice. Come from Japan.
As far as I know.
Well said. Any questions? You just set up 6 minutes worth. These questions somewhere. Okay. Then we can close. Go ahead.
Erlon bowing, what's meant by pure in those precepts?
The purity comes from that there isn't any the relativity to begin with is strongly relative. Do good, don't do harm. Whatever shows up, be with all things. So the purity comes from seeing that there isn't anything to actually do. There's nothing to accomplish. It's completely pure from the beginning. It's free from any separation. The separation that causes war and peace and right and wrong and pollution and relative purity. It's free from the polarities. So it's pure. This is pure. This is pure. There's nothing, there's nothing, there's no conflict anywhere. It just looks like it. And it looks like so, excuse me, it's so convincing that people will hurt themselves and hurt others and go to war, go to peace. And I have a lot of stories behind it justifying how they were mistreated or what happened or what that country did to this person. Constant stories, making up things, imaginary stuff, not true. Well, go ahead, Deb. Thank you.
You said at the beginning, for those who, this is something that I'm interested in knowing about the vows. If I were to receive them from you, 3 refuge vows, and then you said there were 16 altogether.
Yes.
I guess I'm not clear about the other ones. The outside of the 3 that you mentioned. Is there somewhere I could find those and just look at them and have them written? Bowing.
Yes, yeah, we usually don't just publish them out there. We just wait till somebody asks about it. And Kandrima is taking a note right now to send those to you. In fact, she might be sending them to you right now, and they might pop up, right on your lampshade somewhere.
Thank you. And also on the sewing a koso, I'm not saying it right.
Roxy. Roxy.
Araksu, thank you. Is there a pattern and material that you recommend bowing?
No, you would have to get permission from me to do that. You
Got
can
it.
study the precepts all you want, but you would have to have talk to me about it, and I would try to talk you out of it.
Okay,
But if you can talk me into it, if you can convince me this is something you really, really want to do, without a doubt, you want to do this without a doubt. You don't have any doubts about it. Now, you might have doubts 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about right when you ask me, no doubt. You don't need to maintain anything including no doubts. So then you ask me, and I look at you and I said, you mean this? You really want to do this? And of course, you've been a student here, been with this Sangha and this teacher, this community for years. So I would think you probably looked at it somewhat. But if you looked at the 16 precepts, then you might have questions about that, and that would show up in that interview. Or it could show up to the Sangha. You could actually other people in the Sangha, because everybody who's either fully ordained or lay ordained, and some of the people who haven't been through any of that might still have something to say about that situation. And then you would talk to the sewing teacher, and currently the sewing teacher is Unyo. She's been helping people with robes and Roxus, and someone asked for precepts a while back was Natsumi, and Natsumi just finished her Roxus, so at some point she will receive lay precepts. And she thought about it for several years. So, did you send it to her? Did you receive it yet?
oh, me.
Oh,
What's that?
he's looking at the left cheek.
I don't know, but I will look.
You'll get to it. You get to it.
Okay, thank you. And yes, I plan to very soon be asking some
Okay.
Sangha members questions about this.
Very good way to do it. Now start with Sangha.
Thank you.
There's some Sangha you might talk to, they might talk you out of it. Those are probably the ones you ought to talk to. Yes.
Shuibu bowing. Why are those the first 3 precepts?
The first 3 are refuge in the Buddha, refuge in the Dharma, refuge in the Sangha. Is that what you're asking about?
No,
Yeah.
God, there I go.
Buddha, you have a Raksu, don't you remember? I take refuge, or I go to refuge, or I take, or I receive. Refuge in the Buddha is the example of someone who wasn't nuts. And the Dharma is the truth that he taught, he looked at the world and began teaching. And the Sangha is all those crazy people are trying to understand it with the help of that teaching and that teacher.
I don't remember the order of all of them.
Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. The next 3, don't do harm, do good, and be with all things, or save all beings is another way of saying it. And then there's 10 prohibitory precepts, which starts with what?
First, no killing life.
First, no killing, no killing. And there's elaborate ways of talking about it. There's a very simple way: no killing, no stealing, no telling lies, no, all prohibitory. But then there's an elaboration on those that doesn't go into the polarized part of it, where it says no killing, no taking life. There is only one life which is unkillable. So you're not only given the relative don't do it, but you're giving the ultimate. There's no way you can fail. They all do that if you read them. Well, did you
Yes,
want me
but I
to
wanna
tell you
get my
about how to
camera.
make tuna sandwiches? Yes, sir.
Jorge Bauer.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier, when Deb was asking about, getting the receipts,
Mhm.
that if you're sure, ask,
Mhm.
but you may not maintain.
You can't maintain anything. I wouldn't expect you to maintain any, just return to it. So it will fall apart. If it doesn't fall apart, then you're tightening up on something and then it will probably come apart and will not be comfortable. Maintain it, return to it. Go ahead.
Jorge, but is trying to maintain a type of compromise.
It's trying to maintain is the three poisons are working together to kind of get some kind of a comfort zone around it. You don't have to do that. Let the whole thing fall apart. The very day you do any of that material, just let it come apart. Returning to the vow is what's important. Because you were in an illusion, so things are going to come apart. It's going to be fun one day and terrible the next day. Yeah, so, and the vow you return to, it might be different with each one. You might be returning to the ninth precept, no getting angry, which means you can't help but get angry. But the idea is to look at anger really thoroughly. There's lots of ways of understanding that. No, don't get angry. You can't. You get angry every day. So, yes,
Rainbow bowing,
yes.
what does it mean to take refuge?
So take, receive, observe. It's basically what you're doing. We're in this world of samsara. We're in the confusing right and wrong, up and down, back and forth, political opinion, the opinion across the kitchen table with your family, ideas of right and wrong. And we all have a kind of underlying assumption where there must be a right. There's obviously a wrong. And so, but it's getting caught in the illusion as if it were real and had to be stopped, or if it was real and had to be promoted. It's called materialism. Trungpa Rinpoche talked about it in his book, Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism. More?
Andrew Bowling, what does it mean to take refuge?
You hear what I said? So you Buddha's example, the Dharma is what the Buddha taught, and the Sangha as the community is a way of changing your attitude about samsara. You can't free yourself of the illusion because it's so believable, so convincing, but it's a way of slowly working with that situation that gives you another understanding. This is why it's so important to sit down, hold still, and observe the confusion in your mind without repairing it, without fixing it. And see that what the Buddha taught eventually starts to show up in your own mind. Nothing is separate from anything else. There never was an individual. This is the early teaching of the Buddha, empty of self. There is no solid being here. The appearance of a being is an illusion. There's no solid identity there. That doesn't mean that the personality won't come and go. And then the last part of the refuge, after you have connected with the idea of a teacher or a mentor or someone who is an example of somebody who was not confused, who was beyond the chaos of the world. You could see it in them, unless you're projecting heavily on them, because you can't look at your own mind situation. And you go to refuge for the teaching itself. Everything's dependently risen. Nothing comes from its own side as an individual. Everything is suffering. The cause of suffering is desire. The goal is cessation of the path of Shila, Samadhi, and Prajna. And that everything comes together to support that understanding of the Dharma is voluminous. There's so much material that's been coming down to us through the centuries from the Buddha in his hundreds of thousands of words, and also all the other teachers. And then the last one, maybe the most important one, is the Sangha, or the community. Just like this group of people gets together for an hour and we look at this material with the way this person is teaching it. And we ask questions, the Dharma, about what that is, and have some exchange around that. And so we take refuge, or you could say we leave home. Maybe we don't leave our physical home, but we leave the materialistic approach. At the same time, we have a job and we go to work, we pay our taxes, we obey the laws. We're still functioning in the illusion like everyone else is. But our fundamental understanding is to see what is this, what is it beyond the illusion? Now, the way you do that, you might be able to think about it a little bit and figure it out. Probably not. You'll just write a book on philosophy. But to go within, because here's where the confusion is, not out here. There isn't anything out here. If you see anything out here, it's a projection. More?
Padma bowing, so then taking refuge in the Buddha is to
Example,
give it your attention, explore it. I mean, what is refuge? Taking refuge in the Buddha.
you're, in a sense, your refuge, you're leaving your attachment to samsara or to the materialistic idea of the world of success and failure, right and wrong. And you're going to the teaching of the Buddha. This is an illusion. And this is the one who saw this and began to teach it. And the second one is the Dharma, or what the Buddha taught. And the third one is the community of people that are gathered around this teacher, studying this teaching. And you go to refuge, you leave home, maybe only for a few hours, maybe for a day, maybe for the rest of your life. You're fully ordained as a monk. What does it mean to you?
Padma bowing, I just was wanting to explore that a little bit.
Go ahead.
It is giving it the benefit of the doubt. So you hear the Buddha's teaching, and you, to take refuge in it, you give the teaching the benefit of the doubt.
That would be a way of talking about it. Yes, you look at it, you've heard about it. May not have, there might probably isn't any proof. People who are practicing the Dharma usually don't come out with a lot of advertisements for why you should be doing it. Some do, but it can be disappointing to do it that way. No proof. Slowly becomes, or speedily becomes groundless. This is why it seems to be necessary to have the three tools, have a teacher, a mentor, however you want it, whatever word, someone who has seen this, or at least as far as you can tell has. I often say, and said it lately, but I say, you see this, there's something wrong here, there's something pretentious, there's something not working right. If it looks like I'm trying to get something from you, or some kind of merchandising mentality, here we are in front of everybody, point it out to me. Point it out to everybody. I sometimes say, come and get me. Let's talk about it. I don't want to fight with you. I won't fight with you.
Padma bowing, so on this path, we're giving the teachings the benefit of the doubt. But there's no result, there's no promise.
None.
So we're resonating with a truth, a direction with the teachings initially, and then then you're saying there's nothing, you lose that. You lose the
Whoops.
ability to trust, or
How do you define trust?
I think it's, you lose the comfort of feeling like you're on the right path.
You do. You lose that. But you may not lose it right away. It might allow you to have some footprints for a few years until you eventually realize that there aren't any footprints. This is why the teaching of emptiness is it's emptiness of self, and the more extensive form of that is emptiness of other. There's emptiness of self, which is a 1.5-fold egolessness. You eventually see that there's no one here, but you're still hooked on everybody else and their situation, right and wrong, should be and shouldn't be, acting well, not acting so well. More. Just trying to trick me. I'm gonna go on to Zoom and you guys will all be on your own. You don't have any questions? Okay, time's up. Sure. Go ahead, Sokuzan.
Sokuzan bowing. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you. My rock suit was
Yeah.
taken. I don't want to go into the details of it, but it was taken against my
Yeah.
will. It breaks my heart. And looking at the receiving the vows and breaking vows, how I don't want to go into a lot of personal here, but how would you recommend someone to start again vowing?
Oh, we should have a private interview with me. Set that up and I'll talk to you about it. But there's ways of working with that. I mean, there's all kinds of ways. I had a student, I've had not a lot, but probably altogether, probably about 60 people have stolen a rock suit, isn't it 60? And there's not many of them left. They've all run different directions, all different ways. So you're still here. You've been through all the kinds of things that have happened in your life. I had one of my students actually left me and burned their rock suit. So the thing I would say about that, once you receive this vow, you can't stop it. You can burn the rock suit, you can jump off a cliff, you can turn into a marshmallow. It doesn't matter what you do because it does not matter. This is not my opinion. But it doesn't matter what you do. Everything you do is an illusion. It can be very painful if you start believing this is good and this is bad. It can be very painful. Go to war lifetime after lifetime trying to improve, get better, and stop the bad things and support the good things. It can be very painful. Doesn't matter what you do. But you should be aware of what you do. And that way, you've already received Jukai. Everyone in here has either received Jukai or is at least trying to train their mind. You don't ever have to receive Jukai. You don't have to be a monk. You don't have to be a student of mine. The only thing I would say, if you're listening to me right this moment, you might want to train your mind. You don't really need to talk to me at all, but go within. That's all I'm here to do is say, go within. How you do that? I don't know. I'm very biased. I think you have to sit down, hold still, and look at the mind come and go and come and go. And you may need the support of a teacher. You may need the support of the teaching or the Dharma. You may need the support of the community. Maybe not. I think it'd be very hard to do this completely by yourself because we're not separate. You're welcome. Further questions in here? Yes, sir.
I hope I can raise the question correctly. Do you know if there are other paths that lead to the same that you're trying to show us? Do you know of other paths?
Every path leads there. There isn't anything but going towards the truth, everything. It's just that some of it is very, very painful and complicated. There isn't anything separate. If there were separate things, then that would mean that some things go wrong. It's just that they'll appear difficult, dangerous, and painful for a long, long period of time. If we don't turn and look at at the truth is an illusion. This is not real. So I could make up a story about it. I could say somebody could lifetime after lifetime and go to war and go to, I feel like if there is such a thing as past lives, I think I've done everything imaginable. But that's not the case in this part of the illusion right now. Past and future are not real. They just look like it. It's very convincing to think that there was a yesterday and a tomorrow. It's just this, and this is suspect. Did I get close to what you're looking for? Because it feels like there's, if you want to work on that question a little bit.
Or about, now this is good. It makes me think.
Yeah, there are no mistakes. It looks like it. And actually your trunk Rinpoche, this lineage that I was inspired by my teacher was sometimes called the mishap lineage because it's so full of flaws, difficulty. All of my teachers in the past all had all kinds of flaws and had all kinds of gossip about them and criticism and so on. And crazy stuff. Trunk perpetrated barely, when he was 19, barely escaped the communist Chinese trying to get out of Tibet. Took 300 people with him, and I think only how many people?
So,
Maybe 100 some lived through that. Most of them died on the way. Mishap, difficult. Let's see.
Roland Bowing, how do the three pure precepts help us look at a practice like the sadhana mahamudra?
Just practice the sadhana. What are the three pure precepts?
Do good, don't do bad, be with all things.
Sounds like you got it to me. It's a matter of contemplating that, because as soon as we contemplate just want to do good, what the hell does that mean? So it's kind of up for grabs. Some people think they're doing good and they're actually harming people. Some people think they're harming people and they're actually doing good for those people. And it's such a relative construct. It's such a puppet show. It's just amazing. It's so unreal. Yet there's all kinds of strings running every which direction. So this is why awareness is so important. It's why something like the sadhana mahamudra, if you're sitting and you chant the sadhana and it makes no sense, and it begins to make sense in some ways, and then other parts are, why would you say that? Why do you do that? Who are these guys? Why? The ego mind immediately goes in and wants to figure everything out. They're just images. It's just it's like someone is coming in and deliberately imagining something for you, so you can get the experience of something being created out of nothing, rather than you're creating this and thinking that, and speculating on that, and guesswork about this. Imagination is running wild all the time, whereas in sadhana mahamudra, it's done for you. You do it every full moon, new moon, and it's never the same. You've been doing it for many, many years. Is it ever the same? Never. Always different. And you can't even say what's different about it. Well,
Roland Bowing, is it the fact that we repeat something really specific that lets us see that we can't repeat it?
it's like a mantra said over and over and over. You say some mantras, the teaching in the Tibetan lineages are millions of mantras. And yet nothing ever happens twice. But in order to understand what that's about, you may have to do a lot of them. And then when you finally realize that, then you begin to understand what nothing happens. Do something a million times and count it on a mala. Looks like something happened. Closest you can come to anything happening is you get to brag to your friends. I did 1 million of those. But it does give you kind of a credential as you're going on. You've done a lot of these, and it seems like maybe this will help. But not gonna help. But it seems to be very necessary to train your mind. You may need to do it with a mantra. You may do it with a sadhana mahamudra. You may do it by studying Dharma talks. You may do it with book study. You may do it by going into a solitary retreat and looking at your mind all day long, every day for a couple of weeks. Or you may set a TMI, 2-minute meditation, a couple times a day for years. Nothing actually occurs. Yes. Anyone further in here? Jishin,
Jishin Bowing.
ask me in Polish.
This will be funny.
I'll respond to you in
In
Russian.
You said, don't stop doing something which can be harmful. Just observe it. Is observing something which can be harmful more valuable than than stopping doing it? Bowing.
It's quite a trap you're sitting there. What do you guys think I should say? Anything is possible. I see what what you seem to be asking about there, and I would say it's not about the outcome, because the outcome is going to be, if you want to go into the relative, it's going to be a good outcome, a bad outcome, or anything in between, all the nuances, and that you have no say so about any of that. If you think you can create a good outcome, you have there's just enough cause and effect to make it convincing that you have a lot more control than you really have. Like if you strike a match, touch it to a newspaper, it's going to catch on fire. Almost, 99% of the time, unless it's soaking wet. And then of course it's not going to. Causes and conditions. And the idea of soaking wet, well, I wouldn't do that because it's soaking wet. So you have some control. What do you have? You just have the perception of some other part of the illusion called water. But there are things in the illusion. When I say things, there are dynamics, energies in the illusion you cannot see. If you could see everything, you can just go to Las Vegas and gamble and never have to work at all. Just make money all the time because you can see everything. It's just maybe a silly way of saying it, but it's like that. But no one can do that. Can't be done. And so therefore, you could be doing something that you felt, to go a little into what it seemed to be asking about. You could do something you felt was good, like not interfering with something, and something terrible could happen. Or you could do something you felt was really good and supportive, and something terrible could happen. You do not have a say-so about outcomes. That's the starting of it. And then the ultimate understanding, there is no outcome. That doesn't mean I'm saying, oh, there is no Gaza Strip. Yes, there is, but it's in an illusion, and it's part of a huge matrix of otherness called an avalanche, moving through time from hundreds and hundreds, thousands of years ago, through all the cultures, all the warfare, all the anti-Semitism, and all the hatred for people that don't look just like you or me, down through the centuries. It's very, very painful to see, but you cannot just jump into the landslide and stop the landslide or stick a protest sign in the middle of it. As an example I sometimes use. This does not mean you shouldn't carry a protest sign. I've done it myself. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but be very clear about what it is you're doing. You're carrying a protest sign is not about stopping anything. It's about a community. It's about participating in a dynamic where all these aspects of consciousness are not too happy with what's going on. Watching the pain and suffering of others.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You also said something about receiving, and if you receive it as humility. What is the relationship between receiving and humility? Bowing.
Humility is a relative word. And someone who's humble, without pretense. This doesn't mean they don't see what's happening. It's just saying that they don't necessarily operate out of credit or blame or any of those dynamics. They just don't function out of that. They just observe what's happening. So initially, for the ego mind, if the ego self-centeredness has not been seen through and you still on some paper-thin level or more, believe that you're somebody and you can be harmed, believe that you're somebody and you can be assaulted, believe that you're somebody and you can win or lose, or any polarity, you believe that. If you begin to see through that, then you just, even though you have some of the emotions or feelings are coming up relatively out of that, you can still have a lot of discomfort, even suffering there. You don't do anything with it. You don't blame anyone about it. And if someone compliments you, you don't necessarily take credit for it or receive the credit. Also, you aren't dismissive either. You wouldn't come out with some kind of what's called false humility. The way pride sometimes works is to be artificially humble. Oh, it's not me. I've done nothing. No, I'm not. I don't get any credit for anything. I'm just a simple monk. That doesn't mean that if you say that, there's something wrong with you. Yes, I am having a good time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there a further onslaught? We had an onslaught. No, yes, yes.
Shui Wu bowing to Jashin's first question. It looks, this is a two-part question. It looks like observing leads to seeing the truth, and stopping something is controlling it. Is that on the right path?
That's the, yes, it is. Just receive, just observe it, and when if it goes away, observe. If it comes toward you, then receive it, and if it moves sideways, then combination of observing and receiving. Those things are very similar, that they have something to do with the way the illusion operates to move away or move towards. And then whatever occurs, just relax. It's not something you can do relaxing, but you can see the way in which you're uptight. And if you watch the way you're uptight without doing anything with it, that starts to come up.
Shui Wu bowing. If we stop something, and I'm thinking about in your addiction awareness context, what else is going on aside from control?
I can't make a generalization about it. Can you think of something specific? Maybe I could.
Is there more to see in that scenario of trying to stop doing a behavior than just that I'm trying to control my situation? Are there other aspects or corners to that?
Well, the fundamental misunderstanding is that there's a person who has anything to say so about anything. And since it is an illusion, the illusion of itself is very powerful. If you're not aware of it, you just think you are someone. There's a body here that's very convincing. You have nerve endings. This seems like I'm here. I have kneecaps, and I have hand, and I have head. Very convincing. The relativity is very convincing, but it's fundamentally unreal. That doesn't mean you don't protect yourself or take a bath or eat or still function in the illusion, but your wide understanding of it is nothing actually occurs. Did I get close to what you're asking about? So it doesn't matter what you do. You could go about and trying to fix or stop. It's about being aware of that. But you would be more aware about it if you would listen to someone in this situation where I'm saying, don't fix anything. I know you can't help it. I can't help it. I see myself trying to change things and fix things every day. But I fail all the time.
Allowing, does that don't fix things? When you say don't, is that about looking at the intention? Allowing, when we vow to be with all things, and then we see how we can't be with all things, where's the intention?
Still there. Then to see that you can't be with all things is awareness. You're aware that you can't. You have the intention, and you see that you fight with something. And then, but it is much more clear of the way that there's somebody which is an illusion, and there's something which is an illusion. It's bringing it right down to its very simple polarity. This and it's me and that. And see that that's unreal. There is no such thing as that. Calling from Indiana. You shut that on. I don't do technology, even though it's my smartphone. Thank you.
Combining, when we see that. It looks like there's that and there's this, and then there's this and there's that. When we see that duality. Does the intention take us further into it?
I feel that it does. Because the intention to intend, it just changes over from looking into the darkness of what is this? And then something shows up, you see that we can't, something happens and we can't help but push on it. Because the intention has been literally, to say it in a literal and even relative way, has been strengthened. There's a priority on receiving things rather than producing or covering things up or stopping things or controlling things or trying to gamble on what we can get and what we can lose. Instead, we see something very directly and precisely, and we try to not do that, and we fail, and then so we watch the failure. One disappointment after another until the final disappointment, which is awakening to your true nature. Not a success story. Not failure. The path can feel like failure. This is why not many people are on this path.
Thank you.
Sir. Anyone else in here? Yes.
Shui Wu bowing. I always interpret be with all things. And then I add on and don't do anything. Like just be with all things, just receive all things. But is there something about the word with, like a non-duality, a non-dual teaching in that?
I think it's a path. There's the ground, which is the difficulty, the suffering, the discomfort, the disappointment. Everybody has their version of this. And the path, the spiritual path, is to find a way to just look at this, just receive instead of fighting with the difficulty and covering it up and blaming or what explaining, whatever. Instead, let's just look at it as it shows up in your mind stream, your thoughts, your emotions. That you sit down and do this. You've never meditated before. You sit down, start to do this. You get flooded by things you've been covering up, and of course, it's uncomfortable. But what's being said here is just receive that. It won't last. Nothing lasts. Everything's impermanent, including your most chaotic, difficult emotions and thoughts and fears cannot last because they're an illusion. They're dependently arisen. They only have a certain duration, but they tend to persist if you push on them. They push back. They tend to persist if you hide out from them because they're still in the illusion. They tend to persist if you make up stories about them. Don't do anything. Be very simple. I didn't even answer your question.
Shui Wu bowing. I was wondering if there was a non-dual teaching in that,
Yes,
what that might be.
I can't tell you it would be non-dual.
Raise.
What?
He clapped.
Well, Jishin is laughing. So you know what that means. I'm about to get a really complicated question. Go ahead, Jishin.
Yishin bowing. You said there is only one life which is unkillable. Does it also mean that that only life is unharmable? If this is a word. Bowing.
Unharmable.
Yes, you can't really hurt. The illusion of murder is really realistic, and the illusion of someone suffering or being fearful, taking someone else's life for punishment or what? Complicated. You have whole legal systems to explain that and make sure somebody gets punished. The idea of praising someone for what they did, the idea of punishing someone for what they did, big misunderstanding. But you can't talk people out of it using the very structure that created that illusion in the first place. Even though the Buddha and teachers down through the centuries have used concepts and ideas to help you see through the illusion, the trap of your own mind, the trap of otherness. You still have to step through it. It'll take you a long ways. The Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, the 12 links on the chain of existence, what we chanted, the powerful teaching that we chanted 3 times a week, that we chanted the English and Sanskrit versions this morning. The 30 verses of Vasubandhu spells out exactly how the mind works and how you confuse yourself. But you just have to read it over and over, not in Sanskrit, well, unless you speak that. But we do it both ways because we want as much atmosphere around that powerful teaching that goes back, what, 1,500 years? I don't know exactly how, is it about that? Long time ago, back in 5th century AD, 4th century. Powerful teaching. Can you remember verse 26? Don't you lead that all the time?
One of many.
One of many verses. So unless we don't see that, but everything is consciousness only, the twofold grasping will not cease. My translation of the Sanskrit, which I don't speak Sanskrit, but I know what that's saying, because unless you see that this is just consciousness, then the twofold grasping, if I like it, I don't like it, it shouldn't be, the twofold grasping, me and that, this life and death, up and down, back and forth, success and failure. But if you see that, then the illusion doesn't go away. You just see that it's an illusion. So you're not too concerned with what happens. That doesn't mean you take your eyes off anything, or you ignore anything, or you agree with anything, or you disagree. Do you know the Sanskrit? It's a beautiful, you chanted that this morning. You led it. Yeah. I was there. I mean, I was online, I wasn't here. I heard that one mistake you made. Is that humiliating? Good. Is there a further conference of meditators? Anything else? Molly, anything?
Molly Bailey. I just had a question on the be with all beings,
Maybe with all beings, maybe with all things.
be with
yeah.
all things. And you said all, it's sometimes represented as save all things. Is that right?
Yes.
How is being with all things the same as saving things?
So being with all things is a little bit more just ordinary, generic. Whatever happens, receive it. And sometimes that what happens arises as another person, which is much more difficult than just arising, the weather getting bad, or you losing your job, or having difficulty with your vehicle or something. Those are more ordinary things. But when it's another person, the fundamental understanding of the Bodhisattva vow, besides being with all things, is to put others before yourself. And it's just impossible to do it. But people are so crazy. Not everyone, but they're in the illusion of otherness. There are a lot of people that are very nice and kind and loving and sweet, and other people are very difficult and obstructive and aggressive, and so on. And then there are other people that are kind of go back and forth, or in a kind of a neutral zone, yet haven't really settled in one of those areas, but have a little bit of each. And the idea of the Bodhisattva vow is just be with all. That doesn't mean agree with them. It doesn't mean you'll approve of negativity. Don't do anything with it. Just look at it. So that in that way you're being with all things in the form of another person. They might be across the kitchen table. It might be your next door neighbor. Could be a coworker. Just difficult. And it is not something you have to accomplish. You just have a vow where you can say you try to do that, and you see that you can't quite do that. That tends to cut through that part of the illusion that assumes almost like an opinion consciousness that you're over here and other beings are over there and you're doing pretty good and they're not doing so good. It doesn't get rid of it, but it sees there's something fishy about that, about the otherness. So I guess the simple response to the difference between those is one is more just about everything in general, and the other one kind of personalize it between you and living beings, human beings, cats, dogs, squirrels, birds, you with all things. Thank you for the question. Is there, you have a final one? Any final question anywhere before we close? Don't have to have one, but if there is, I'll respond to it. I didn't say I'd answer it, I'd respond. Very good. Thank you so much. We'll now
Stand and dedicate the merit.
dedicate the merit. Thank
Then
you.
we'll do the sadhana.
And then we're doing the sadhana. In a couple of minutes, we're doing a sadhana. You're all invited to participate in the sadhana of Mahamudra, which we do every full moon and new moon. Is this new moon?
Yes.
Yeah, new moon in Leo.
It's an eclipse.
Huh?
It's an eclipse. Planet alignment.
It's an eclipse, so you don't want to miss this. An eclipse.
May the merit of this
Penetrate
into all places so that we and every sentient being together can realize the Buddha's way. Jiho san shi ishifu shi son bu sa moko sa moko ho ja ho ro mi. The 10 directions